All of this starts with the protagonist downloading a game called Fool, beta version, and since then, his life has changed in style. A simple text adventure game with no graphics, no music, only lines of text and countless options. However, every step of the game's options will affect the player's fate, because on the opposite side of the game, there is a real unknown world. Players cannot enter a different world, nor can they see the scenery of the other world. They can only feel every step of the game's characters in the world through text. As the game progresses, not only can the rewards in the game be realized in reality, but various abnormal creatures in the game also begin to appear in reality. Until one day, the game was publicly tested worldwide. In this era of exploring and searching for treasures in a different world through a text adventure, the whole nation is quietly unfolding. Keywords of the novel. This text adventure game is absolutely toxic without pop-ups. This text adventure game is absolutely toxic. Download the full text collection. This text adventure game is absolutely toxic. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Fools, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1, Fools in front of the Chitsu Pet Shop in K-City Development Zone. Muyu stuffed the large dog cage into the trunk of the van. Master, this is the last cage. I will give you the shipping fee later. No problem, Boss Mu. If you have cats and dogs for sale in the future, feel free to contact me anytime. Okay. Watching the driver leave with a cart of cats and dogs, Muyu turned around and looked at the empty pet store behind her, silently lighting a cigarette. 2 years ago, his parents passed away in a car accident, leaving him with this pet shop. In order to fulfill his parents' wish, he quit his job and went back to his hometown to run a store wholeheartedly, hoping to build a pet store again. Unfortunately, the times have changed too quickly, and under the impact of the epidemic, those who are now engaged in the physical industry have become hell-hard. Since a few weeks ago, the pet store has been operating beyond its means, and its daily income cannot even cover the cost of feed. Helpless, he had to sell all the cats and dogs in the store and prepare to switch to a lower-cost flower, bird, fish, and insect shop. I hope it can improve. After extinguishing the cigarette, Muyu turned around and returned to the store. As soon as I entered, I saw a girl with a ponytail tied and an apron standing at the front desk, staring blankly at the rows of empty cages in the store. What's wrong, Xiaoya? The girl's name is Shinya and she is currently the only employee of the pet store. Boss. Xiaoya looked at Muyu and hesitated to say anything. Our store is not going to close down like this, is it? What are you saying? Muyu tapped her head with his finger and said jokingly, it's just a contraction of business scope. Watching the girl holding her forehead in distress, Muyu sighed. Xiaoya was recruited by her parents when they opened the store, and she has been working in the store for a full 4 years. The other employees have resigned one after another in the past 6 months, but she has remained steadfast. When it comes to feelings for this pet store, Xiaoya is no worse than herself. Don't worry, I won't sell the store unless there's really no other way out. This shop is a memory left for him by his parents, and it is also a place that accompanied him when he grew up. Of course, Muyu will not easily let it close. Moreover, he is not just doing offline work. He has self-media accounts on various mainstream video websites and relies on frequently posting pet videos, earning a considerable monthly income. It is not difficult for him to survive. Oh, that's great. Xiaoya just smiled and said, I'm going to wash the turtle's back. Watching the silly and cute employee run into the pet bathroom, Muyu walked into the store and glanced at the front desk, suddenly stunned. Xiaoya, is the USB drive at the front desk yours? Yupin. No. The girl's puzzled voice came from the bathroom. Is it left behind by the guests? Muyu didn't think much and prepared to put the USB drive into the lost and found box. However, when I picked up the USB drive, I found a piece of paper underneath. Open it and you will discover a new world. Looking at the text on the note, Muyu was stunned for a moment. What does it mean? Is this USB drive specifically for him? Curious, he sat back at the front desk and inserted the USB drive into the computer interface. After opening it, there are only 2 files in the 16 GB USB drive. An app file named Fool, Beta version 2.41, and a TXT format game invitation code. Mobile game. Muyu has a strange expression on her face. Do mobile games nowadays compete like this for promotion? Download mobile games and come with a USB drive. With curiosity, he opened the antivirus software to check and confirm that there was no virus, then imported the app into his phone. Proficient in installation and registration. Then enter the activation code to start the game. The imagined passionate background music and exquisite game CG graphics did not appear. Instead, a rudimentary box interface pops up. There is no image or sound, only black background and white text, as if someone is clumsily tapping on the opposite side, popping up one by one on the screen. On a snowy night, you wake up in a forest covered in heavy snow. The cold wind howled in the forest, the cries of owls kept coming and going, and the cold moonlight fell on my feet. Every withered tree around me was like a twisted and crying face in the scene of snowflakes falling. You gradually recall the past that you had forgotten. This is a magical world called Star Spirit Realm, where werewolves, vampires, elves, witches, wizards riding brooms, heartless tin people, talking mirrors, ghosts and castles. These legendary magical creatures together make up this eerie and dark world. A long time ago, you were also residents of this continent. But because your ancestors did not have the ability to release magic, they were jokingly called fools by wizards. The arrogant Wizarding Association refuses to live in the same world as fools. They wage war, gather magic, build a high wall, and isolate ignorance and true knowledge. A heavy rain that leaves nothing to be forgotten erases your memories, and you are forever sealed off in a place of forgetfulness without magic. Now, you have luckily passed through the cracks in the wall and returned to this homeland. Here, you are the despised person, rejected by this world. Every step you take next needs to be careful, and every choice you make will directly affect your destiny. If you're sure you're ready to face all of this, then click Start and officially embark on this journey. Click Start to enter the game. So, fool means this. Muyu was somewhat surprised. He thought that the fool in the game name referred to something in the game, but after reading the background introduction, he realized that the fool actually referred to the player. Not to mention, although the design of the game's exterior framework is very simple, the worldview of the story is quite grand. In just a few words, it shows him a mysterious and dark magical world. Players accidentally break into this world and will now explore, search for treasures, and seek revenge against the Wizarding Association that once expelled them. Start. Muyu clicks the button. Under the cover of wind and snow, you have officially set foot on the land of your hometown, but you exude a strong exile aura, and in order to avoid being detected by the indigenous people here, you need to disguise yourself as a resident of this world as soon as possible. A floating gift box appears in front of you. This is the ancestor of fools, a gift prepared for each returning person. When opened, you can receive a random ancestral relic that can help you cover up the exiled person's breath and prevent you from being discovered by other wizards. Do you want to open it now? 2 options, yes and no. This should be considered a beginner gift pack, right? Muyu thought and silently clicked yes. In the process of extracting ancestral relics. Extraction completed, you have obtained the Time Pocket Watch, hidden. Pressing the pocket watch can trace back time and help you avoid the dangers hidden in the dark. Note: when extracting artifacts, there is a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning a powerful and unique hidden artifact. Hidden relics. Looking at the text prompt, Muyu couldn't help but be taken aback. There is only a 1 in 1,000 chance of being drawn, but he actually hit it with 1 shot. It seems like he's lucky today. Of course, it is also possible that everyone's first draw is a guaranteed hiding, which is a common practice in cryptocurrency mobile games. Anyway, although this is a small broken text game, its vast worldview and this special game mode of exploring treasures through text give Muyu the motivation to continue playing. Clicking on the screen, Muyu was about to continue, but suddenly felt a chill in his right hand, as if he was holding on to something. Looking down, a small round pocket watch lay quietly in his palm. The copper shell, white dial, and a protruding button at the top are fixed with a golden chain. Muyu looked at the pocket watch in his hand strangely. Where did this come from? He doesn't remember having such an old-fashioned pocket watch at home, and besides, how could a watch suddenly run into his hand? "Boss, are you looking at your palm?" A sound suddenly rang in my ear. Looking up, Xiaoya walked over at some point and was lying on the front desk, holding her cheeks in both hands, curiously looking at his outstretched palm. "Look at your palm." Upon hearing her question, Muyu suddenly had a strange idea in his heart. "Xiaoya, can't you see this watch? Table." "What table?" "Just the pocket watch in my hand." Muyu even specially lifted the pocket watch to show her. "Old boss, don't scare me. You have nothing in your hands." Xiaoya looked at him like a ghost and instinctively took a step back, only to accidentally touch the water glass by the table with her arm. The water cup fell down, and Xiaoya hurriedly wanted to save it, but it was too late. Bang! The glass cup filled with water shattered, and glass shards and tea splashed all over the ground. "Ah, I'm sorry." Xiaoya's face was full of shame, and she instinctively wanted to pick up glass shards. "Just a cup." Muyu was about to wave his hand and say it was okay, but his finger accidentally pressed the button on the pocket watch. In the next moment, he only felt a flash of light in front of him, and everything around him suddenly began to rewind rapidly. Covering water can recover, breaking a cup can round it up. When everything calms down, then open your eyes and take a look. The fragments and water stains on the ground disappeared without a trace. The shattered water cup returned to the table intact. He maintained the gesture of pinching the pocket watch with his right hand. And Xiaoya in front also stood at the front desk again, looking at him with a ghostly expression. "Old boss, don't scare me. You have nothing in your hands." A familiar conversation rang out, and Muyu was stunned on the spot. What's the situation? Am I dreaming? The next second, Xiaoya's elbow touched the water cup again, and the cup fell straight down again. Muyu's pupils contracted, and his right hand darted out like lightning, narrowly catching the water cup flying in mid-air. "Ah!" Xiaoya exclaimed in surprise, looking at the cup caught by Muyu. She patted her chest with lingering fear and said, "Fortunately, boss, you reacted quickly and almost broke it." Muyu didn't answer, but looked at the cup in his hand with some shock. He went through the same scene twice and even changed the result. He instinctively looked back at the phone screen. At this point, a new prompt has popped up in the game interface. Time Pocket Watch. A pocket watch blessed by the Time Fairy. Press the button to reverse the time, going back 5 seconds. After each use, it has a 5-second cooldown. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. This game is toxic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. This game is toxic. By the way, boss, what watch did you just say? Xiaoya asked, regaining her senses. Oh, it's nothing, I'm just joking. Muyu quickly calmed down and quietly stuffed the pocket watch into his pocket, saying, I don't think there are many customers today. You can go back first, and I'll pack the rest later. Okay, I'll finish work first. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Watching Xiaoya leave, the smile on Muyu's face gradually turned serious. He retrieved today's surveillance footage from the front desk computer. The strange thing of time reversal has appeared under his nose, and he has no intention of doing anything else. Now he must confirm who put that USB drive. Muyu pulled the video fast forward, but all morning, there was nothing on the front desk. It wasn't until 4:15 p.m. that a USB flash drive suddenly appeared on the desktop out of thin air. Yes, it just appeared out of thin air. Without anyone approaching the front desk, the table was still empty for a second, but in the next frame, a USB flash drive suddenly appeared. I became increasingly aware of the wrong Muyu and tried to search for the name, Fool. However, all I found were irrelevant things, and there was no record of this game online. There is indeed a problem. Muyu frowned and decisively gave up the idea of continuing to trace the origin of the game. With the ability of this supernatural game, if he didn't want to be pursued, it would probably be a waste of his efforts. Moreover, this game is currently showing as a beta version, indicating a high possibility of a public beta in the future. That is to say, one day in the future, humans around the world will be able to download this game. Muyu dare not think about it anymore. If it really develops to that day, then this game will definitely bring great changes to the world. But now, he is just lucky enough that most people have first come into contact with this game, so he should actively explore the game content and try to grasp more information before the game's public beta. Under the moonlight, you stepped out of the thorns and onto the path in the forest. The fallen leaves, covered in snow, let out a mournful cry when stepped on by long boots. A faint sound can startle the birds to chirp, while the owl's chirping seems distant and close, one after another. This reminds you that danger abounds in this forest. The longer you stay here, the more dangerous you will be. It's best to find a nearby village as soon as possible. The options pop up: depart, and continue to stay. Muyu chose to depart. Under the guidance of the moonlight, you embarked on the journey. 3 paths appear in front of you. On the left side of the road, there are fireflies scattered everywhere, and the moonlight shines like a dream. In a daze, you seem to see a winged fairy on a tree branch ahead calling out to you, "Come here, adventurer, I can fulfill your wish." On the middle road, there lay a drunken and strong man holding an axe and a wine bottle, wearing a striped prison uniform. He was likely a dangerous fugitive. You'd better stay away from him. On the road on the right, it is desolate with no one in sight. The winding path extends into the depths of darkness. Although there are no obstacles, your intuition reminds you that there may be even more deadly dangers hidden in that darkness. So, fool, which path are you planning to embark on? Muyu looked at the 3 options below: left, right, and center. Excluding first. The description of this fugitive on the middle road inevitably looks like a fierce battle. The description of the road on the left should imply that there is a fairy in front of him who can fulfill his wish. Muyu is actually skeptical about the option of having such bad luck at the beginning, as it seems more like a trap. But who allows him to go back in time? Give it a try and it won't hurt. His pocket watch can be traced back to 5 seconds ago, and the cooldown time is also 5 seconds, forming a closed loop. That is to say, as long as the text pop.up time of the current option does not exceed 5 seconds, it can loop infinitely within this option and try out all the results of the options. Muyu chose left. Brave adventurer, you have chosen to respond to the fairy's call and embarked on the road to the left. You stepped on the fluorescent snow with anticipation and walked towards the graceful figure sitting on the tree branch, but as you approach, you realize that the figure is not an elf fairy, but an upside-down nightmare bat. Nightmare bats love to create illusions at night, attract passers-by to approach, and then suck on their brains. You realize this is a trap and want to escape, but it's too late, and the nightmare bat is flying towards you. You were bitten to death by a nightmare bat. You are dead. Life expectancy 0.1, remaining life expectancy of 57 years. Gone. I knew it wasn't going so smoothly. Muyu cursed inwardly, but the first thing he noticed was the last reminder. Remaining lifespan of 57 years. The lifespan here may not be true, right? If it were any other game, Muyu would never have such unfounded associations, but he was not surprised by anything that happened in this eerie game before him. So, he still has 57 years left to live. And if this speculation is true, that is to say, every time he dies in this game, he will permanently lose 1 year of his lifespan. Really, the game of risking one's life. He just said why this game is so generous. At the beginning, he gave him an incredible magical pocket watch. It turned out that the cost was to make him die. Muyu took a breath, and these thoughts drifted through his mind in a moment. Seeing that the time was about to exceed 5 seconds, he quickly pressed the switch on the pocket watch. Everything around me reversed once again, instantly returning to the state it was 5 seconds ago. And the options in the game also returned to the fork in the road just now. However, this game seems to sense that the pocket watch has reverse time, and the text does not directly change back, but quietly shows some changes. Lucky fool, your relics saved your life and prevented your death. Time goes back, you have returned to the intersection just now. Please make your choice again. There are still 3 options below. Left, middle, and right. Knowing that there were bats on the left, Muyu naturally wouldn't go to see them off again. This time, he chose to walk on the right. You have chosen to step onto this desolate path on the right. There is no obstacle ahead, it seems like a smooth road ahead. Suddenly, a black spotted spider sprang up from the roadside, and a sticky web rushed towards you, making you unable to move. You were bitten to death by the black spotted spider, you are dead. Life expectancy 0.1, remaining life expectancy of 57 years. Damn it, you guessed wrong again. Muyu is dumbfounded. The correct answer is actually the fugitive in the middle. Or is it true that even fugitives are wrong? There is actually no correct answer to this option, and choosing anyone is a dead end. Anyway, let's go back and talk about it first. Time goes back, and you once again return to the familiar crossroads. The continuous setbacks of death have not defeated you. So, fool, which path are you planning to take this time? Muyu nervously clicked on middle. You choose to walk towards the fugitive in the middle and ask for help from a distance, hoping that he can take you back to the village. But in the eyes of the anxious fugitive, anyone's approach at this moment will only make him more emotional. He picked up his axe and looked into your eyes, killing intent surging. As soon as this text appeared, Muyu felt uneasy. Afraid it might happen again. Fortunately, it's not over yet. Unfortunately, this fugitive was a coward and didn't dare to actually take action in the end. Watching you approach, he panicked and fled the scene. You survived. Damn it, what does just a pity mean? I'm disappointed that I survived, right? Muyu cursed inwardly, while letting out a long sigh of relief in her heart. Although the copywriting of this game sounds a bit bad, it seems to have some lower limits and there is no really set option for him to die. In other words, this opening option is too confusing, as it allows him to backtrack time to avoid losses. Thinking of this, Muyu couldn't help but feel even more satisfied with the random time pocket watch she received. It seemed like she accidentally stumbled upon a quite incredible relic. This type of text adventure game is originally designed to allow players to make individual choices in the text, each of which will bring different results. And being able to infinitely reverse means that any option he encounters in the game can guarantee making the best choice. Is there anything more suitable for this game than this ability? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Owl Shop. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Owl Shop. At this point, a new text pops up in the game. At the location where the fugitive left, you found something resembling a branch. When you picked it up, it turned out to be an old wand. Old wand. This is a garbage wand made from the cheapest red oak branches, without any additional attributes, and with mottled marks on the surface, indicating that it has been used for a long time and may die at any time. If there is an option, it is best to replace it with a new one. Do you have any unexpected gains? Muyu's eyes lit up and she clicked on the text of the wand. A winding branch quietly appeared in his hand. At a length of about 30 centimeters, there are already signs of decay on many parts of the surface, rough like a randomly broken branch from a withered tree. Is this the wand? Muyu held the branch in his hand and played with it for a while, then tried to swing it forward a few times, but there was no response. He had to look at the text in the game again. A wand is a necessary tool for wizards to unleash magic, but to unleash it, you still need to learn at least one spell. Do you really need a spell? Muyu sighed. It was clear that the wand was just a tool, and magic spells were the foundation. This wand alone had no effect on him. Spell, I want a spell, give me a spell. Anything will do. Muyu muttered incessantly and continued playing the game. You have obtained your first wand in life. This has given you great motivation. Although you do not yet know any magic, you have become a solid first step on the path of becoming a great wizard. Confidence sprouts in your heart, ambition begins to swell in your chest. You bravely crossed the small path in the middle, like a king expanding territory. A venomous snake suddenly sprang out of the grass ahead. You were bitten to death by a venomous snake, you are dead. Life expectancy. 1. Remaining life expectancy of 57 years. Damn it. Muyu was dumbfounded and died suddenly again. But is there something wrong with it? What are the special options? He didn't use his pocket watch yet, why was he suddenly bitten to death? Muyu was just thinking that with a pocket watch in hand, he couldn't have died in this game, but he was immediately slapped in the face. Surprisingly, there is such a way of death without even an option. It's not very martial arts. In this way of death, his pocket watch is useless because even if he goes back in time, he can't make any other choices in the game. He can only continue to move forward and repeat the process of death. Muyu cursed and could only continue playing while cursing. Although he lost a year of his lifespan, he had already obtained an incredible pocket watch and a magic wand. It's really hard for him to let go now. In the rules of the Star Spirit Realm, death is not the end. All creatures in this world will lose 1 year of lifespan each time they die and be resurrected at their closest birth point. Only when your lifespan drops below 0 will you completely disappear from this world. In the game, a description popped up first. As he had thought before, it was true that every death in this game would reduce its lifespan by 1 year. And his current lifespan is 57 years, which means he still has 57 lives to live. It's okay, it's just one less life, what I still have. Muyu comforted herself and continued on the road. After the pain of death, you are resurrected at the previous intersection. You start over and stroll through the snow-covered forest. You see a little white rabbit lying on the roadside eating grass. Its cute appearance reminds you of the spicy taste of rabbit head, and you can't help but approach it. The little white rabbit discovered you and launched a savage collision against you. You were killed by a little white rabbit. You are dead. Life expectancy. 1. Current life expectancy. 56 years. WTF. Muyu almost smashed his phone on the spot. Your game is indeed poisonous, isn't it? Who wants to eat spicy rabbit head? I want to risk my life, okay. How about being more coquettish in your position? 2 consecutive direct deaths made Muyoshin bleed. He finally felt the malicious intent of this game on the players. He had just taken a few steps and even killed him. He didn't know how to play with him in the future. Unfortunately, the game did not give him too much time to complain, and the new text has popped up. In the howling cold wind, you are once again resurrected at the intersection. The experience of dying again finally made you realize your own insignificance. In this mysterious and dark magical world, as a fool, you are the lowest and most humble existence. Even a rabbit on the roadside is not something you can deal with. Looking at this yawning text, Muyu managed to resist the urge to curse at the street. He is actually curious, what kind of state is he in that world? It's okay if you can't beat a bat or a venomous snake, but you can't even beat a rabbit. What kind of weak chicken would he look like? After finishing your rest, you set off again and embark on the journey of searching for the village. This time, you will be even more cautious. You once again came to the path just now, looking at the harmless little white rabbit ahead. You chose to avoid it from a distance. The rabbit quickly disappeared from your sight, and you breathed a sigh of relief as you continued forward. Suddenly, you saw a wooden house shop standing abruptly at the intersection ahead. At the top of the wooden house was a sign in the shape of an owl, which read, "Owl Shop." The owner of a roadside shop is a person with an owl face. It sees you and greets you, "Hello adventurer, I sell real treasures here. Don't miss them if you pass by. Do you want to enter the owl store? There seems to be a small shop like a roadside stall ahead, but the owner is a strange owl man. I don't know if it's another trap." Muyo, who was afraid of being tricked, chose to enter the store, while firmly holding the pocket watch with her right hand, preparing to immediately reverse if there was any abnormality. Fortunately, the situation where he was bitten to death by a large group of owls as soon as he entered the store did not occur, and it seemed like a safe place for trading. You enter the store and see 3 items displayed on the display window. Burning Scroll. A scroll that records magical spells. After use, you can learn the low-level fire spell, Flame Bear. Value: 100 years of lifespan. Invisible Cloak. As its name suggests, wearing it can make you invisible, but the cloak cannot conceal your voice and scent. Value: 55 years lifespan. Charging Wand. This is a special wand that absorbs the scattered magic and charges 1 grid whenever someone nearby releases magic. After filling 5 grids, it can release a powerful electric shock spell without consumption and clear the charge. Value: 70 years of lifespan. They are all good things. Muyu's mouth was almost watering, but unfortunately, he couldn't afford anything. Even the cheapest invisibility cloak has a lifespan of 55 years, and he only has a total of 56 years now. After buying it, there is only a trace of blood skin left, and he will die easily from being scratched by wild monsters on the roadside. Even if he were given 10 courage, he wouldn't dare to play so much. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Children Make Choices Only. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Children Make Choices Only. Moreover, Muyu thought that in this world full of magic spells should be very cheap, but unexpectedly, spells are actually the most expensive commodity. The most ordinary low-level flame curse has a lifespan of 100 years. There's no need to think about those more advanced spells, they are not something he can touch now. Muyu shook her head regretfully and prepared to leave the store. Unexpectedly, a new text popped up in the game. The owner of the old cat shop seems to have noticed your financial difficulties. As a new customer benefit, it has given you a free roll of therapeutic bandage, hoping that you can take care of its business more in the future. Treatment bandage. An emergency item for treating wounds, which can instantly heal the wound after use, or avoid a single death when subjected to physical attacks. Oh, roar. Muyu's eyes lit up and she was immediately moved to tears. What is this unparalleled good boss? Although this bandage cannot directly increase lifespan, it can prevent a single death, which is exactly what he needs most now. More importantly, free. In this world full of malice, only the cat owner's shop can feel a hint of warmth. Before leaving, the owner of the cat shop told you that 3 random items will be listed in the owl shop every morning. Remember to come and take a look every day, maybe there will be something you need. No problem, boss. When I become more developed in the future, I will definitely take care of your business every day. Muyu silently said in her heart and chose to leave. You left the owl shop and started again at the end of the snowy road. You can see a familiar sight with lights swirling around. It's almost there. Not far ahead is a village. You intensified your journey and finally arrived at the front of the village. Mu Yoshin said it's not easy. She was bullied by various small animals all the way, but she managed to find a safe zone. In other words, there won't be any danger after entering the village, right? As you were about to enter the village, you suddenly noticed a long-bearded hunter lying in a pool of blood at the entrance of the village ahead. Do you want to come forward and check? Oh. What event was triggered? Years of gaming experience told him that this kind of plot is mostly beneficial, so Mu Yu quickly chose yes. You step forward to check. This hunter with a hunting gun on his back seems to have been injured while hunting in the forest, covered in some kind of beast's torn wounds, bleeding incessantly. He weakly looks at you and asks for help. You choose robbing him. The hunter has many treasures on him, and taking advantage of his weakness is a good time to rob him. Treat him. Use your bandage to treat his injury, maybe he will appreciate you and give you some benefits. Blinding. You pretend not to see and walk into the village, letting him silently wait to die. Robbing him. Among the three options, Muyu decisively chose the first one. Your eyes sparkled with greed, choosing to take advantage of others to rob hunters. The hunter was furious, and on the brink of death, he turned around and jumped up with an axe to kill you. I'm going, hunter brother. I was wrong. Muyu realized that he had overestimated his combat effectiveness. Even a dying hunter was not something he could have imagined. Backtracking. Time flies, you stand in front of the hunter again. This time, you choose. Treat him. Muyu chose the second option. Although healing hunters may consume their own bandages, the current situation should trigger some kind of plot. Let's see if it's worth it first. You choose to treat the hunter with a bandage. The bandage emitted a faint white light, healing most of the hunter's wounds. The hunter survived and was very grateful for your help. He decided to offer you some benefits as a reward. Do you accept it? Here we go. Muyu is waiting for this moment. Accept it decisively. The hunter is a famous hunting master and beast tamer in the village, proficient in long-range shooting skills. You can choose one of the following three spells as a reward for curing him: 100 shots and 1 hit. A shooting spell that greatly improves your shooting accuracy against various ranged weapons in a short period of time after being released. Beast Trap. A trap spell that consumes wood or metal to create a hidden trap on the ground. When a creature passes by, it traps it inside. Animal Dialogue. Taming spell, released to give animals spirituality and the ability to understand your commands. The success rate for higher-level animals is lower. Spell. Muyu is pleasantly surprised. 3 options, all spells. And, according to the instructions, each effect is very powerful. Soon, Muyu fell into a happy dilemma because he could only choose one of the 3 spells. Wait, Muyu suddenly remembered something. Why did he choose? Others may need to choose, but they have a time pocket watch. Is everything okay? Spells are different from other physical rewards, they belong to a type of memory. If it is a physical reward, the physical item will disappear after the reversal time. But memories are directly engraved in his mind. Even if time goes back, he can't forget them anymore, can he? Of course, Muyu cannot be sure if this game will allow him to take such obvious loopholes. Let's give it a try first. Muyu chose the third, Animal Dialogue. As the owner of a pet shop, there is no more practical magic than this. You have learned Animal Dialogue. At the moment the text popped up, Muyu only felt a complex and convoluted mnemonic in his mind. Although it was a language he didn't know, he could read it proficiently like his mother tongue. Without time to savor the essence of this mysterious spell, 5 seconds passed by quickly, and Muyu quickly pressed his pocket watch. Time goes back, go back to the options before. There are still those 3 options in front of me. Meanwhile, the memory of the spell in Muyu's mind did not disappear. It's done. Muyu is overjoyed that he can really get stuck with bugs. Please choose one of the following 3 spells. Sorry, I want everything. Muyu decisively followed the method and quickly learned the other 2 spells. Feeling the 3 floating spells in her mind, Muyu was satisfied. It turned out that this was the most IMBA usage for backtracking time. Keep going. After spending 3 precious spells for nothing, it seems that the 2 lives sacrificed before are no longer so painful. And he has also arrived at the village in the game, so there must be more novel events waiting for him to discover. Muyu is currently at the peak of his gaming enthusiasm, and he can't wait to click to continue the game. As a result, Fool, your mobility has been depleted today. Forcefully taking action while fatigued may cause your body to dissipate. It is best to immediately stop, rest, and straighten up, and wait until your mobility recovers tomorrow before continuing on the road. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. My Hamster Becomes Sperm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. My Hamster Becomes Sperm. Mobility. Does this game have physical limitations? Muyu was taken aback and clicked on the entry for Action Power. Action Power. The energy that a fool must expend when walking in the star spirit realm. Every time you die and encounter each branch option, it will consume a bit of action power. If the action power is cleared, you cannot take action. Current action power. 0/5 automatically restores action power to the maximum limit at midnight every day, and can also restore lifespan. Each point of lifespan is exchanged for a point of action power. Do you want to exchange it? No, no, no. Muyu is in a hurry to confirm. Are you joking? It's okay to pay for everything else, pay for your life. If you take one more step, you will have a lifespan of 1 year. Who can afford it? However, how is this action power calculated? Muyu looked at the explanation in the text with confusion. Every time he died and encountered each branch option, it would consume some action. He actually died 2 times just now, and he clicked at least 5 or 6 times for the option. How could this add up to more than 5 points of action, right? Don't options like yes or no count? Muyu couldn't figure it out for a moment, so she had to let it go for now. After checking the time, it's only 6 p.m. now, and it's still early in the morning. I'm sure I won't be able to play today. Muyu withdrew from the game and went to pull the rolling shutter door outside the store. Then he eagerly took out his wand and prepared to try the 3 spells he had just learned. The first, 100 shots, 100 hits, requires long-range weapons, and he definitely doesn't have such a thing in his store. However, the remaining 2 spells can be tested on the spot. Muyu arrived at the pet display area and pulled out a hamster cage. There is a cute little hamster named 17 living in the cage, which he just bought 2 months ago. However, this group of idiots, under daily training, have yet to learn how to lie down and defecate at designated positions, which has given Muyu a headache. So, it is honored to become Muyu's first cursed object. Poor little hamster, still unaware of what he was about to experience, still sniffing around in the cage, searching for food. Muyu lifted the cage into the hall and touched the wand in his pocket. After some thought, he went to the front desk to find the camera and set it up in the direction directly facing the cage. I don't know what happens when releasing magic yet, but let's take a photo with a camera and give it a try. After setting up the machine and adjusting the angle, Muyu took out his wand, exhaled, pointed the tip of the wand at the hamster, and softly recited the spell of animal dialogue. Vara. Dep. Mogu. Urez. The tongue twitching of this syllable took Muyu a full 5 seconds to finish reciting. After reading it, a faint light appeared from the top of the wand and quickly disappeared into the hamster's head. The hamster in the cage suddenly froze, as if it had been electrocuted, completely frozen in place. 2 or 3 seconds later, it resumed its movement and raised its small head to look at Muyu. Suddenly, its small face was filled with a personification of eagerness. Do you want to eat something? Muyu pinched a bag of nuts in his hand and tried to ask. As a result, the hamster nodded repeatedly. Hiss. Muyu himself felt shocked. Isn't the effect too obvious? I waved my wand and surprisingly, I could understand people's words directly. Do as I say, and I'll give you something to eat. Squeak. The little hamster nodded fiercely. Subsequently, Muyu began to give various common commands to the hamster. Most of the little hamsters were able to understand directly, but for those who couldn't understand, Muyu demonstrated it with gestures and it quickly began to learn. 10 minutes later. Lying down. Lying down. Rolling. Doing a push-up. Running 2 laps on the roller. Being cute. Whenever Muyu gave an order, the hamster immediately followed suit and quickly ran to the edge of the cage, waiting with its dark little eyes open for feeding, never making the next one if it was not given food. Even push-ups and somersaults, which are almost impossible for hamsters, were barely performed in non-standard postures. It's so amazing. Do you have wood? Now that this hamster has become Sperm, there is no exaggeration at all. Then Muyu tried the trap curse again. He found an abandoned wooden board in the storage room and placed it in the open space, casting a spell on the board. The wand swung. The next second, the wooden board turned into a flat circular trap, almost blending with the surrounding floor in color. If you don't look carefully, you can't even see anything here. Trap ready, Muyu released 17 from the cage and then ordered it to walk over. The little hamster obediently walked up to the trap, only to have just stepped on the boundary of the trap. Pop. The trap instantly closed and turned into a spherical carved cage, firmly trapping the hamster inside. The little hamster was startled and quickly slapped the cage with its front paws. Its 2 small eyes looked at Muyu as if seeking help, and its mouth squeaked incessantly, tears almost swirling in its eyes. Muyu quickly went over and rescued the hamster. As a result, the strength of the cage was much greater than expected, and he had to put in a lot of effort to barely open a crack. The little hamster kicked its legs out of the crack and lay on Muyu's hand, with lingering palpitations. It looked at him with a resentful expression, and its humanized expression showed its inner emotions very clearly. "I believe you so much, how dare you let me step into a trap?" Immediately, she picked up her 2 front legs and turned her head in anger, like an angry little daughter. Law. Mu Yolien fed a small packet of nuts and promised not to mess with it again before finally calming it down. At this point, both magic experiments have been completed, and the results are surprisingly amazing. Sending the hamster back to its cage, Muyu walked over to remove the camera and flipped through the replay. As a result, both the wand and magical light and shadow were captured normally. So, only relics cannot be seen by ordinary people. Muyu thought to herself. After watching the cute little hamster video recorded later, he suddenly realized that this might be an opportunity. After thinking for a moment, Muyu extracted the video onto the computer, split it up, and deleted all the scenes of those experts, leaving only the scene of the little hamster making various commands in the cage. Then, he took out some of the previously recorded video of the hamster, cut some clips, and finally made a 30-second video. In the first half of the video, there is a hamster before training, all kinds of clumsiness, all kinds of random pulling, and ignoring the owner. And the second half of the video is the footage of the results being tested just after the pet training is completed. The comparison on both sides can be said to be extremely brutal. With subtitles, special effects, and sound effects, Muyu took the title, How to Tame a Hamster in 10 Minutes, and then posted this video on his Bilibili account. He is not a big-up owner on Bilibili, but over the years, he has accumulated more than 20,000 fans. Considering the quality of this video, Muyu estimates that the playback volume this time should not be too low. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Boss, you are angry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Boss, you are angry. When the video was sent out, it needed to be reviewed, so Muyu ignored it and turned to train other pets. After releasing the beast taming spell 10 times in a row and training the other 10 little pets to become spirits, Muyu has become quite proficient in this beast taming spell. Now he can even recite the spell silently at an incredibly fast pace within half a second. However, at the same time, Muyu also discovered that every time he released magic, his spirit would become somewhat lethargic. At first, it wasn't obvious, but after releasing it more than 10 times in a row, he only felt dizzy and swollen in his head, with some signs of nausea and vomiting. It seems that magic also has limitations and cannot be used indefinitely. Using it too much at once may lead to mental exhaustion, and in severe cases, it may even result in a coma, Mu Yu thought to herself. After confirming this, he didn't hold on any longer and ran to the kitchen to randomly place some food, then went straight back to the bedroom to rest. Under immense mental exhaustion, he couldn't stop the surge of drowsiness. As soon as his head touched the pillow, he fell into a deep sleep. What Mu Yu didn't know was that when he fell asleep, the video he posted passed the review of Bilibili, and then the playback volume began to soar at a visible speed. In just 1 hour, it had already exceeded 10,000. Subsequently, his video was captured by algorithms and made it to the homepage of Bilibili. The result was even more overwhelming, with explosive growth in playback volume. Later, it was manually blocked and pushed by the editor. In the end, it directly rose to popularity at 4 a.m. the next day. Mu Yu woke up and the first thing she did was touch the pocket watch and wand beside her pillow. Fortunately, everything is here. What happened yesterday was indeed not a dream. Mu Yu breathed a sigh of relief and didn't wake up immediately. Instead, she lay in bed and opened her phone to scan Bilibili for a while. As soon as I opened Bilibili, I found that his private message had exploded, and the number of unread messages in his mailbox reached 999 plus. After flipping through the comments of several fans, I found out that the video I posted last night actually became popular. Mu Yu quickly opened the video and glanced at it. Sure enough, in just one night, the video had over 500,000 views. At this speed, the final playback easily reached 4 million. At this point, his fan base has skyrocketed from 23,000 at the beginning to 94,000, and he is about to break through 100,000. There is already an editor in the background urging him to continue updating this series of videos as soon as possible, which has great potential for popularity. This series of chain reactions stunned Mu Yu. He guessed that this video might be popular, but he didn't expect the views to be so high either. He quickly opened the video comments and looked at them, and by now the number of comments had reached over 4,200. Believe me, after reading it, you will definitely say, lying down. The first popular comment, the following reply is all, lying down. Oh my god, how did this happen? How could a hamster be so obedient? A well-known anchor left a message, with a row of master ball captures below. Mom, a hamster who can do push-ups, in capital clothes. They all said that after the founding of the People's Republic of China, no one is allowed to become refined. Up master, contemporary druid stone hammer. Mom asked me why I'm kneeling to watch the video. Make 100 bets, this video is definitely a composite special effect. If it's not, I'll live stream upside down eating xiang. It's marked upstairs, put one in the live broadcast room. Is the title of this video obvious? How could it be trained very well? Training for more than half a year is still about the same. Reply upstairs, this is just a hamster cub in the video, growing very fast. Upon closer inspection of the hamster's body shape before and after, there is almost no change, indicating that the shooting time will not exceed a week. A week is also very impressive. Is the owner a professional pet trainer? Watching the previous videos of the owner, it seems like our family runs a pet store, so it's not surprising that we can train pets. Help, this is so cute, Pa. Who knows where this store is? I really want to go and see it. I want to go together. This is my boss's shop. An ID named Danya Shuxiang left an excited message. A shop assistant suddenly appeared upstairs. Yes, I am a shop assistant. The store is located on Xiangjiang Road in the development zone of K-City, named Chitsu Pet Shop. Welcome everyone to visit. Danya Shuxiang. It's not far from my house. It happens to be in K-City. I'll stop by tomorrow and take a look. Mu Yu was eagerly reading the comments when he suddenly heard a clanging knock on the door downstairs. Change clothes and wake up, then go downstairs and open the rolling shutter door. As soon as I opened the door, I saw a circle of people around the store entrance, including Xiaoya. As soon as the door opened, everyone looked curiously towards me. Seeing Mu Yu open the door, Xiaoya was the first to run into the store and excitedly pulled his sleeve, saying, "Boss, you're on fire." "Cough, calm down, this is just the beginning." Mu Yu pretended to be calm, but in fact, he was also very excited in his heart. This is the first time in 2 years that so many guests are waiting outside to visit before the door opens. Looking up at the time, it was just 7:30. "We have half an hour left to open the door, Xiaoya. You go clean the fish tank, and I'll change the sand for the mice. Today is the first day after our store's transformation, and we must not compromise on environmental issues." "Okay." The two immediately took action. Normally, it's impossible to clean up in half an hour. Just the feces of cats, dogs, and dogs are enough for them to have a headache. But now it's different. After selling all the cats and dogs, their workload has directly decreased by 70%. Mu Yu skillfully completed the cleaning work on his end, and then went to bring all 11 small animals trained yesterday to the pet display area in the center of the hall. These 11 animals that have undergone magical baptism are 5 hamsters, 2 chinchillas, 2 rabbits, 1 marmot, and 1 canary. Do you know how to behave today? If you see the owner you like later, try your best to be cute and try to get them to buy it directly. You will have no worries about food and drink in your lifetime. And most importantly, no matter what happens, don't bite anyone. Mu Yu gave a serious lecture to a few little ones, and the 11 little animals all nodded after listening. The effect of animal dialogue is currently only effective for the practitioner Mu Yu, which means that other humans still cannot understand when they want to communicate directly with them. However, after being enlightened, these small animals have become much smarter than their peers in intelligence, and they have also firmly remembered the movements that Mu Yu trained yesterday. Now, as long as they hear someone make a similar sound or gesture, they can immediately respond. As a domestic pet, they are definitely qualified. At this point, Xiaoya has also cleaned the fish tank and replaced it with clean water. Watching everything ready, Mu Yu walked to the door, took a deep breath, and opened the glass door. "Hello everyone, welcome to Chitsu Pet Shop." Mu Yu looked at the group of people waiting outside the door, his mouth slightly raised. In just a short while, there were 7 or 8 more people queuing up, and the effect of the video advertisement was surprisingly good. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Persuasion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Persuasion. However, after he finished speaking, the customers outside did not dare to enter immediately. Instead, they approached the glass wall and looked into the store with their necks raised. "Store manager, why haven't you seen any cats or dogs here?" a girl dressed as a college student asked on behalf of everyone. "Our cats and dogs are temporarily sold out. Currently, our business mainly focuses on small rodents such as birds, fish, turtles, and rabbits and hamsters." Mu Yu explained. Upon hearing this, more than half of the people at the scene immediately showed signs of disappointment. Mu Yu was not surprised by this. Although the proportion of people raising various small pets is increasing, cats and dogs are still the absolute mainstay of the pet raising industry, completely surpassing the total number of other types of pets. Most people who want to keep pets first think of cats and dogs. As some customers showed their intention to leave, Mu Yu quickly spoke up, "You may not have been exposed to small pets before. In my opinion, the experience of raising small pets may not be as good as cats and dogs." As soon as these words were spoken, several customers over there who had already turned around stopped, ready to hear his words first. Cats and dogs are indeed the most common pets, but they may not be suitable for everyone, because both cats and dogs are animals that require their owners to spend a lot of time with them, and they also need to provide them with enough space to move around. However, these 2 points are actually difficult for the fast-paced upper class and student groups to achieve. Compared to raising small pets such as hamsters, this problem does not exist because they are small in size and often only require a cage or fish tank to support them. They do not take up space, and do not have hair loss, odors, and other headaches for owners. In addition, there is a more important point. Taking care of small pets is much more worry-free than cats and dogs. They do not take up too much of their owner's time and energy. They only need to change water and food regularly, check their health, and are very suitable for modern fast-paced life. Of course, this does not mean that owning a cat or dog is not as good as owning a small pet. Cats and dogs are companion pets, and the strong interactivity they bring is unmatched by other small animals. What I mean is that everyone should choose the most suitable pet according to their own conditions. If they just watch a video and think it's cute, they can easily buy a pet back, which may erode their love and patience in the daily life of defecating in the future, and eventually lead to the path of selling or even abandoning pets. Muyu smiled and looked at the crowd, talking confidently, leaving them all stunned. Everyone never expected to have a pet, there are so many claims. There were indeed many people on site because they saw the hamster in yesterday's video and thought it was cute, which led to the idea of keeping a pet. However, few people have carefully considered the various troubles that may arise after keeping a pet. More importantly, Muyu just mentioned not only how good it is to keep small pets, but also listed the advantages and disadvantages of keeping cats, dogs, and other pets, allowing them to judge for themselves. This approach itself can give people a convincing feeling. This time, those who were already preparing to leave were also persuaded by Muyu to have the intention to enter the store and take a look. The only thing that still made them hesitate was that they had said so much, and if they went in and didn't buy, their face would be a bit uncomfortable. Store manager, can we just go in and visit instead of buying? The previous female student asked cautiously. Of course you can. Muyu smiled and nodded. As long as customers enter the store, they can choose a bag of pet feed for free at the front desk and feed it to their favorite pets. In addition, the animals in the pet display area in the middle of the hall can also be directly interacted with to help customers experience the feeling of raising them. With Muyu's words, everyone present's eyes lit up. What they are most afraid of is impulsively buying a pet but regretting it, and now being able to directly experience the feeling of getting a pet, the effect is much better. Those who had slight doubts just now completely dispelled their concerns and were all eager to try and prepare to enter the store. Wait a minute. However, at this moment, a disharmonious voice came from behind the crowd. Everyone looked for the voice and saw a tall young woman with shoulder-length short hair, wearing a white coat, walking from the outermost part of the crowd. The woman's cold gaze swept over, and everyone around her consciously gave her away. A woman in a white coat walked into the crowd and stopped in front of the store. She first glanced at the pets in the store through the glass window before reaching out to Muyu and saying, "Hello, my name is Zhao Qian, a veterinarian. I happened to pass by just now and heard what you said, so I came over to take a look." "Hello." Muyu also reached out and shook hands with her. After Zhao Qian introduced herself, she frowned and looked at Muyu, saying, "Rodents with bad personalities can bite people, especially strangers. Careless touching can easily cause bites. You run a pet store, so you probably don't know this common sense, right?" Zhao Qian had just come out to buy breakfast when she saw a crowd gathering here. She came over to take a look, but as soon as she approached, she heard the owner of this shop's remarks. As a strict person by nature, she couldn't bear it anymore. In the clinic she used to run, she had received countless cases of being bitten through by a hamster. In order to avoid such a tragedy under her nose, she decided to speak out as a reminder. "I certainly know that hamsters with bad personalities can bite people." Muyu smiled at the words and explained, "So I also emphasized that only pets in the pet display area can be touched by hand. These pets are personally selected by me, with a gentle and clingy personality, and after my training, I can guarantee that unless someone intentionally harms and angers them, as long as it is normal communication and interaction, they will never bite people." What if your pet bites someone during normal customer interaction? Zhao Qian didn't simply believe it, but continued to ask. If such a situation occurs, I will be fully responsible, pay all medical expenses, and give the victim 10,000 yuan as compensation. Mu Yu said without hesitation. Everyone was surprised and dared to put down such harsh words in public, at least indicating that the boss had absolute confidence in his pet. Zhao Qian also nodded. The boss had already mentioned this, and if she continued to ask, it would be questioning the person's character. Can I come in and visit too? Zhao Qian asked. Of course. Mu Yu smiled and stood aside, making a gesture of invitation. Zhao Qian led the way into the store. When others saw someone taking the lead, they didn't hesitate at all and rushed into the store in droves. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Hot Sales. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Hot Sales. As expected, everyone immediately gathered in front of one of the hamster cages in the pet display area as soon as they entered the store. The protagonist surrounded by them, of course, is little hamster 17, who appeared in the video yesterday. This is the hamster from yesterday's video, right? Definitely, I remember the fur color. Hamster, do a push-up. Someone eagerly issued instructions. Upon hearing the command, the little hamster reluctantly placed its two front legs on the edge of the cage, pressed down on its body, and performed a non-standard push-up. This enthusiasm is much worse than when I filmed the video yesterday, but even so, it immediately triggered various screams. Wow, just like in the video, I can understand people's language. This is too cute, isn't it? Little hamster, go run a few laps. Flip over a somersault and take a look. Lie down and pretend to be dead. Then everyone chattered and began to give various other orders. As a result, the hamster remained indifferent and lay on the edge of the cage, extending its paws to make a begging gesture. At first, everyone looked a bit puzzled, until someone realized something and tried to stuff a peanut into its hand. The little hamster decisively stuffed the peanut into its cheek, and then continued to execute the wheel-running command. Everyone suddenly realized that they were begging for food before they were willing to give the next command. However, the behavior of this force not only did not provoke annoyance, but also captured the hearts of all the women present. They knew how to demand rewards, which is indeed a symbol of intelligence. How lovely. I feel smarter than in the video. How could there be such a cute hamster? Boss, how do you sell this hamster? Everyone praised them one after another, but soon someone couldn't hold on anymore. A woman dressed in office attire was the first to inquire about the price from Mu Yu. Sorry, this hamster is not for sale, but you can buy the other hamsters in the display area. They have also been trained and, like 17, can understand most commands. Mu Yu said. As the protagonist in yesterday's video, 17 has the potential to become an internet celebrity. Of course, Mu Yu is not foolish enough to sell it directly. It is obviously more appropriate to keep him in the store as a sign. How do other hamsters sell? The office worker woman asked again. The price of ordinary hamsters in the store ranges from 50 to 200 yuan depending on the variety, while the price of hamsters in the pet display area will increase by 500 yuan on the original basis. Mu lobbied. So much difference. Working women couldn't help but frown, and others were also surprised. Is the price difference too big for both hamsters? The difference between the lowest and highest is as much as 10 times. Mu Yu seemed to have anticipated such a question and calmly explained, because the hamsters in the pet display area have undergone professional training and can directly understand human commands, saving the buyer's training time. It should be noted that hamsters, a low-intelligence small animal, require a lot of time and energy for novice pet owners to train themselves, and the results cannot be guaranteed. The additional 500 yuan is considered training costs. If you have any doubts about this price, you can check the cost of training pets online. This one is definitely not expensive, and the effect is not inferior to ordinary pet trainers. Upon hearing his words, everyone quickly dug out their phones and started searching. Wow, it said online that training a cat and dog costs thousands. Is that true or false? It seems like it's true. I heard my classmate say that her dog was trained by a dog trainer for a month, and it cost about 10,000 yuan. Moreover, it hasn't been trained well in the end. I didn't even know how profitable it was to train pets. Most of the things we can find are for training cats and dogs, and hamsters are definitely more difficult to train as small animals. A few girls gathered together and murmured and discussed. Compared to the online prices, the asking price of this store is simply too reasonable, and the training effect is obvious. There is no possibility of spending money but failing the training. Boss, I want to buy this one. Just now, the office worker woman decisively selected a hamster next to 17. Okay, this hamster breed is a golden bear, priced at 550 yuan. However, if you are raising a pet for the first time, I suggest that you buy all the necessary items such as a cage, sand bath, sawdust feed, water dispenser, etc. at once. There is now a promotion in the store, where you can buy a complete set of pet equipment in packages and enjoy a 20% discount. When a woman thinks about it, what can she do by just buying a hamster back? The owner of this shop seems quite conscientious. Instead of going to Taobao later, it's better to buy everything together here. Okay, I don't quite understand this. Please take a look and give me a portion of the necessary supplies. No problem, Xiaoya, take the guests to choose. Mu Yu greeted Xiaoya over there. Xiaoya immediately understood and hurriedly signaled the customer to walk towards the pet supplies area, while warmly introducing various supplies. Xiaoya has a good eloquence, and this customer is also the kind who doesn't need money. Most of the items are high-end. After careful selection, various pet supplies were about to pile up in front of her, and the consumption of this guest alone reached over 1,000. Pack the feed, bath sand, and other small and large items together into a box, and finally, Xiaoya thoughtfully sent a thick, hamster breeding handbook. This manual was personally written by Mu Yu's parents at the time, and the content is definitely dry work. When others saw that they had packed such a large box of things, but the price was not very expensive, and there was also such a thick pet care guide as a gift, they didn't hesitate and eagerly opened their mouths. Boss, I'll take this one. Then I'll take this one. Give me one too. For hamsters, don't divide up quickly. Others were a bit frustrated when they saw the hamster being snatched away in an instant, but helpless. They couldn't have the audacity to compete with what they had already agreed on, could they? I had to quickly turn my gaze to the other pets in the pet display area, fearing that they would also be taken away. The store has changed from its previous desolation to a bustling atmosphere. Xiaoya hurriedly greeted the guests, but her face was full of smiles. The pet shop became popular again, and she was happier than anyone else. Quickly, all 10 trained pets were sold out. As for the pets in the regular area, there are also a few bought, but obviously most people are not interested. These pets are dumbfounded, and compared to those who have been trained, the difference is not even a little bit. A few clever customers approached Mu Yu and asked if there would be trained animals available for sale again. I train pets every day, but the training cycle can be quite long. If you have a need, you can come and take a look every day. Of course, we also accept reservations here. Mu Yu said. Upon hearing what he said, the customers who had not yet bought left their phone numbers and booked 1 to 2 pets. After putting name tags on the pet cages that were favored, many people left directly, and the number of customers in the store decreased significantly. The remaining ones were enough for Xiaoya to greet them alone. Mu Yu instead became idle. After wandering downstairs twice and confirming that there was nothing wrong with him, he decided to go back to his room on the 2nd floor. Close the door, take out your phone, and start Fool. Yesterday's series of games have made him quite excited about this game now. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Black Heart Scarecrow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Black Heart Scarecrow. On a clear morning after snow, you open your eyes and still face the gate of the village. As the sun sets, the star's spirit realm begins another beautiful and fulfilling day. After a night of rest, you feel energetic and your mobility has returned to its peak. Currently, your mobility is May 5th. Do you want to start a new day's journey immediately? The game was launched at the village entrance yesterday, and its mobility has also been restored to full capacity, but the upper limit is only 5 points. Regarding the concept of action power, the game states that it costs a bit every time an option is encountered or a death occurs. However, according to Muyu's speculation, the term option here refers to a storyline option that will cause a significant difference in the game route after being selected, such as the three-forked road encountered yesterday or the dying hunter. Choosing either path will lead to completely different results. Ordinary simple options such as confirm cancellation, yes, and move forward and stay should not consume action. The only exception is the owl store, which seems to consume a certain amount of action power as long as it is confirmed that entering the store, whether buying or not. In short, having 5 points of action a day is really a bit useless, and I don't know if there are any ways to improve action in the game. While thinking, Muyu silently clicked on Continue the Journey. A new day begins. As a fool, you ambitiously continue your journey to become a great wizard. You have entered the gate of Anning Village. Anning Village, as the name suggests, is a quiet and peaceful small village on the border of the empire. Since ancient times, logging and agriculture have been the main means of livelihood, and it is well known in the surrounding villages. However, the faint smell of blood floating in the air makes you realize that this village does not seem as peaceful as it appears on the surface. Have you entered the village? Muyu naturally chooses yes. Although the description of this village may not seem very safe, it should still be stronger than the wilderness. You enter the village and see a dilapidated scarecrow standing in the flower field facing the village gate. The few rags draped over the scarecrow's body and the dirty hat on his head all indicate that it has been neglected for a long time. This dilapidated scarecrow is also a member of the village. Although it cannot move, its experience of stationed at the intersection all year round has taught it many secrets of the village. If you are willing to pay for some lifespan, you can ask it for a random or specified message every day. Muyu touched his chin and read the text introduction. This scarecrow should be an NPC like an intelligence merchant who can purchase intelligence for a fee. Muyu tried clicking on the text of Scarecrow. You walk towards the scarecrow. Seeing your arrival, the eyes made of scarecrow buttons sparkle with the light of a fat sheep. It warmly greets you. Oh, a new adventurer, you must need help very much, right? Don't be polite, just pay me a little lifespan, and you can ask me anything about this village. I promise to speak without hesitation. Only once a day. 3 options pop up below. Pay some lifespan to obtain a random intelligence. Ask the scarecrow a specific question, and the scarecrow will charge you an additional lifespan of 5.100 points based on the difficulty of the question. If you are willing to pay, he will answer you. I have no questions to ask. Leave quietly. Can you still ask questions? Muyu looked at the second option and was somewhat surprised. How do you ask questions about this text game that can only be played with dots? Is it possible to speak directly through voice? Muyu held the pocket watch and tried clicking on the second item. Surprisingly, a text input box popped up below, allowing you to input text and symbols like a text message. Muyu was shocked. He thought it was just a single-player game, but now there is a text input function. Does this mean that in the future, when encountering other players, they can also communicate with each other in the game by entering text? A brief thought drifted by, and Muyu quickly pressed the pocket watch, returning to the previous option. He has just arrived at the village and doesn't know anything yet. Of course, there are no specific questions to ask. Going back to the previous step, Muyu clicked on the first option again. You paid the scarecrow some lifespan and asked him for a random intelligence, lifespan .1, remaining lifespan of 55 years. The Scarecrow looked at you with satisfaction and said mysteriously to you, "At the east end of this village, there lives a lonely watchman. He is naturally solitary, has no friends, and sleeps day and night. Every night, he carries a pumpkin lantern and goes around the village to watch. I used to see him every night and occasionally chat with him, so I learned a lot about him. But since a week ago, the night watchman suddenly disappeared. It never appeared again afterwards. Which means he may have already encountered something unexpected. In the rules of the star spirit realm, if no one inherits the relics of the deceased, they will become unclaimed. So, if you can enter the watchman's house now, you can get all his inheritance." The Scarecrow's eyes sparkled with greed. However, the watchman's house is equipped with a magical barrier that must be opened using a specific method. In this village, only I know the way to open the door. Now, you only need to pay 50 years of lifespan, and I can tell you the way to unlock. The Scarecrow is asking you for a 50-year lifespan as a price for obtaining the inheritance of the Night Watchman. Should you pay it immediately? Pop-up options below. Yes, no. Mu Yoshin said, "What kind of black-hearted scarecrow this is?" No wonder just a little lifespan told him a seemingly explosive news, so the key is all in the second step. The inheritance of the Night Watchman would certainly be valuable if one could truly obtain it. However, knowing this news alone is of no use. Without a password to open the door, one still cannot obtain the inheritance. To obtain the method of opening the door, an additional 50 years of lifespan are required, which infinitely lowers the value of this message. It's hard to say whether the inheritance of this Night Watchman adds up to 50 years worth it. If the room is empty, wouldn't it take 50 years to float away? For ordinary people, this option is not very worthwhile. But who gave him a pocket watch? Mu Yu said that his favorite is this type of intelligence option. Payment. Mu Yu decisively chose to pay. You chose to accept the temptation of the Scarecrow and paid it a 50-year lifespan. The Scarecrow felt the full vitality in his body, excited, and finally told you the method of unlocking. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Legacy of Watchmen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The Legacy of Watchmen. The barrier of the Night Watchman's room is very special. It can only be opened between 9 a.m. and 12 a.m. every day. The method of opening the door is to say a secret code to the face on the wooden door. If you don't open the door, you'll be blinded. Mu Yoshin said what kind of violent door-breaking code it was, and silently pressed the pocket watch. Time flies, and the 50-year lifespan you lost has been fully restored, returning to the previous option. The Scarecrow's eyes still sparkled with greed, and he asked you in a seductive voice, "Do you want to pay 50 years of lifespan immediately and get the lock unlocked?" No. Scarecrow. You interrupted the Scarecrow's proposal, and the excitement in the Scarecrow's buttoned eyes turned into doubt. "Adventurer, are you sure you don't need to buy a lock opening method? Buying now only requires a lifespan of 40 years. Adventurer, I know you have already been tempted, so why not be tempted?" I said, "No." You have once again made a firm choice, interrupting the Scarecrow's sales once again. You see the Scarecrow's forehead starting to sweat faintly, and it forcefully squeezes out a dry laugh. "Okay, adventurer, I'll take another step back, only need 30 years of lifespan, and I can tell you how to unlock it. Also, I must remind you seriously that without my unlocking method, no one can enter the watch room." "That's right, it's anyone. You better think carefully." "Hee, I'll come back tomorrow." After Mu Yu clicked "No" this time, she also clicked "Leave directly" in the next level menu. You left the entrance of the village and walked towards the interior of the village under the eerie gaze of the Scarecrow. The roads in Anning village are winding and complex. As you arrive for the first time, you are not familiar with the architectural layout of the village. 3 roads appear in front of you, leading in 3 directions: east, west, and south. Do you choose to go there? 3 options: east, south, and west. The residence of the night watchman is at the east end of the village, so you must choose to walk east here. However, Muyu did not directly choose the east, but first tried the other two paths. You have chosen the road to the west. After walking forward for a while, a cafeteria appeared in front of you. This is a restaurant run by a village chef, which sells some simple magical foods that can replenish your magic and stamina. If you are hungry, you can go in and eat something. Provided that you are willing to pay for your lifespan. A cafeteria that can replenish magic and stamina. Here, stamina probably refers to mobility, which means that the mobility in the game can indeed be restored through other means. However, even so, Muyu will definitely not come in here to eat anything. After all, magic and mobility can be restored over time, and it is not cost-effective to focus on life-saving recovery. You traced back in time and went back to the intersection just now. You chose to take the south road this time. After walking forward for a while, you see an iron furnace castle emitting steam, standing in the snow ahead. This is a blacksmith shop owned by a bearded dwarf. The dwarf tribe, who are obsessed with forging, have superb casting skills. If you have equipment you want to make, you can bring the raw materials here. Even scrap iron, dwarf blacksmiths can help you turn waste into treasure. Of course, the prerequisite is that you are willing to pay for your lifespan. So to the west of the village entrance is a cafeteria for supplementing mobility, and to the south is a blacksmith's shop for crafting equipment. Muyu pressed the pocket watch, traced back the time, and took a piece of white paper to draw the relative positions of the village entrance, cafeteria, and blacksmith shop on the paper. This village seems to be designed entirely based on a real small town. Since there is a cafeteria and a blacksmith shop, there must also be various other shops that meet the needs of clothing, food, housing, and transportation. However, what gave Muyu a headache was that after playing this game for 2 days, all the options he encountered were consuming his lifespan. Killing him required his lifespan, buying things required his lifespan, and even asking questions required him to pay for his lifespan. In this world, lifespan seems to be the most fundamental currency. The problem is, he hasn't found any way to improve his lifespan yet. Even if his time pocket watch can greatly slow down the speed of his lifespan consumption, there will eventually be a day when the waves will run out. Even if he can't get in and out anyway, the issue of lifespan is definitely unsolvable in reality and can only be solved in games. Muyu shook her head and continued playing the game. Looking back in time, you have once again returned to the intersection of the village. This time, you chose the small path heading east. You explored the outskirts of the village all the way eastward for a long time, and finally arrived at the eastern end of the village. This is close to the edge of the village, with few people nearby. There is only a dilapidated wooden house standing alone in the bushes ahead. As the owner of the wooden house has died, it has now become an ownerless small wooden house. Do you want to enter the watchman's cabin? Surprisingly, it arrived once. It seems that the village gate is not far from the east end of the village. Muyu first tried clicking on enter. You walked to the front door of the wooden house and tried to push the door in, but the barrier of the wooden house bounced open. On the door of the wooden house, a twisted and ferocious pumpkin face quietly appeared, staring at you and saying, "Except for the owner of the room, any stranger who wants to enter the wooden house must speak the correct secret code at the right time." Immediately below the text, another input box pops up. This is still a dual unlocking function of facial recognition and password. Muyu sighed at the magic of this magic lock and looked up at time. 9:12 a.m. According to the Scarecrow, this wooden house can only be opened between 9 a.m. and 12 a.m. every day. If the time of the two worlds corresponds, now it perfectly meets the requirements. Muyu entered. "If I don't open the door, I'll poke you blind," in the text box and click send. You gave the correct code, the pumpkin face disappeared in a twist, and the dusty door slowly opened towards you. Is it true that the time of two worlds corresponds? Muyu nodded and clicked enter. You have entered the watchman's cabin. This is a house made of cypress wood. Due to being idle for a long time, the air inside the house is filled with a smell of wood decay and mold. The ground and only a few pieces of furniture are covered with a thin layer of dust. The windows and door panels reveal a shabby and gloomy color, making it more like a haunted house. You explored this dilapidated wooden house and finally gained something. You have obtained a Watchman's pumpkin lantern, a Watchman backpack, and a set of Watchman skin. Good guy. Mu Yu's eyes lit up. Originally, when he saw the description of the small dilapidated house earlier, he thought it was hopeless. This place looked like an abandoned empty room no matter how it looked, but he didn't expect to find something for him. End of this chapter.